fine. And a new spoiler and a new trunk.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt. It is Hump Day, or if you're looking to get rich, it's a Powerball Day. $550 million for the Powerball tonight. But that's the junior leagues of lottery, as the Mega Millions last night did not have a winner. So Friday's estimated jackpot, $750 million. Let's go out to the phone lines and join Galen Unall from Life South. Galen, tell me that you buy tickets to these things when they get up to this size.
No.
You just can't bring yourself to.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. I appreciate people who do. It's paying for my son to go to Florida State, so I encourage people to do it. I just think it's it's a scam. I mean, that's all. Half of the money goes to marketing and lines for people's pockets, and the other half goes to education. And when you look at the people who actually get the bright futures, it's typically the top 10% of every school, right? 10% of all students,
right?
And that 10%, it's something like 90% of them. Their parents could afford to send their kids to college without it. So, it helps the rich get richer. It was, and I don't know what the intent was, but that's what it does.
I see it as just a voluntary tax. You're voluntarily. It's not that the state doesn't get enough of your money. Now you're voluntarily giving them another piece of your money.
Oh, it doesn't go to the state. It goes to the lottery. There's a small portion of it that goes to like the state for every ticket, but it's very, very small. Most of it goes to the lottery company itself, and then education. And then half of their budget is spent on marketing.
Well, remember
it goes to radio stations.
Remember, that's the Florida Lotto. Now the Powerball gets divided up even more because it has to be divided between all the states that participate.
Sure. Yeah. But that's and I also, I don't ever, and you can't buy it with a credit card, and I never have cash, so that's the other reason.
You can get it with a debit card.
All right. Yeah. See, I don't know.
I have a rule.
I don't ever go to convenience stores or anything to sell them.
I have a rule. Once it passes 400 million, then I start buying tickets.
Well, it would make it worthwhile, wouldn't it?
Well, let's be honest. 8 million. Right now, the Florida Lotto's at 8.5 million. That would make a difference.
I sure would hope so. I sure would hope that your accountant would go, wow, all right, I think we can work with this.
Yeah.
And I by the way, I think everybody dreams about like the first 10, maybe 15 things you would do if you won the lottery.
Oh, everybody.
You call an attorney, you call a financial advisor, and then pretty much after that you disconnect your phone line.
Well, I have a friend of mine who is a financial advisor. He says, Tom, if you win the lottery, what are you going to do? And he's a very good friend of mine. He would be my financial advisor. I said, I would call you and tell you fire the rest of your clients.
Correct. And I do think about this. It would be you wouldn't want to be this guy's only source of income because you wouldn't want him to to screw you over. But the question would be, do you go to a really giant firm, right, with lots of partners, and then you're just one of their accounts? Or do you go to just one dude who you trust and say, all right, look, let's work out a deal. and then we're going to have to figure out the oversight.
Well,
You know?
I would go to my one dude because he's known me a very long time and knows that serious bodily injury, maybe even including death, could happen if he screwed me over.
So at $8 million, you could probably afford to pay the right person to do the job well.
See, in my lifetime, because I was not always a nice person, I know a guy that knows a guy.
That's right, and that's important. That's very, very important.
And there's a lot of swamp in South Georgia.
There sure is.
Although
Sure
that we're discussing federal crimes because we're crossing state lines and everything, you know.
Yeah, you got to be careful about that.
You got to be careful. Got to be careful.
You got to think it out. You know, you don't want to do anything too hasty.
By the way, a lot of people are finding out that they should have thought out what they were doing last week when the Capitol, when the storming of the Capitol happened. Have you seen the viral videos of the people that went to the airport to try to get home from that and found out they were on no-fly list?
Yeah, that I think is a bridge too far. But again, we're already there. I mean, you look at what they're doing to Trump. He's off of YouTube now. He's off of Twitter. He's kicked off of Facebook. Lifetime bans, by the way. Instagram. So all of the social media platforms are gone. And then what they did is they took away he's got several websites where you can have online stores.
Right.
There's one major provider for all of them. And they came out last week and said that you're banned from using our services. So it's that slope, right? We always talk about that free speech slope. And we are at the top of it, going full speed downhill.
And it looks like a black
so
diamond.
It's going to become.
And it looks like a black diamond run.
Absolutely, and it's going to be okay. They're following the Chinese model. This has already been tested. What's your political affiliation is going to become a bigger and bigger piece. And let's be clear, they don't know who you voted for, but they know whether or not you did vote in every election, and they can figure out your political affiliation. That's scary. In America today, that is where we're at, and that is incredibly scary. Now, I want to be very clear. Those 100 people should be arrested. They broke the law. I have no problem with that. If you're going to arrest someone for breaking into the Capitol building, arrest them all. So the next time, and at some point, Republicans will be in power again, you would think. When that happens and there's a massive protest, let's hope that they prosecute to the fullest extent of the law just the way they are now.
Well, I will tell you that after I had a conversation last night after trivia. I host trivia every Tuesday night at Crazy Cucumber. And one of my guests at the trivia game, I had a conversation with her last night, and she made a very valid point. She goes, here's the problem. She is on the left and I'm on the right. She goes, here's the problem. We've had a conversation for 20 to 25 minutes about our politics, and we haven't raised our voice at each other. We're not angry with each other. We just understand that we don't agree ideologically, we don't agree. And we try to find common ground. And her words were, the morons in Washington on both sides refuse to do what we've been doing for 25 minutes.
Absolutely, but and if there is common ground, it's that we all hate Congress.
You know what she said?
Yeah.
She said 2 words would solve this whole problem. And I was encouraged by this. She said 2 words would solve this whole problem. Term limits. You knew it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there isn't anybody who's against them.
Well, the answer is there's 535 people
Correct.
against them.
Correct.
And they're never going to vote for term limits because that would vote them out of a job and out of lobbyists giving them money. The only way we're getting term limits, and I think that this is something that we should take up in this state, we should take it up in all 50 states. The only way you're getting term limits is a constitutional amendment. That's not something that started by Congress. That's something that started in each individual state, getting it on the state ballots to make constitutional amendments.
Well, and I'm all for the Constitutional Congress. You know, we haven't had a Constitutional Congress in nearly 300 years. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time we send representatives to put forth some new amendments.
That would be called an insurrection, probably, if we tried to do that. You know, that would probably be called an insurrection if we tried to do that.
But it's not. I mean, it's you can do it. We've done it before. And again, why
we
not?
built a country doing it.
Sure, but you know, and I you know, Biden's talking about how we all need to get along as long as you get along with the left's point of view. So we'll see. We'll see. He hasn't said anything because, you know, he's taken a long nap. We probably won't hear from him very much until you know, he's got to get ready for the swearing in. That's a long day.
It is a long day, you know.
It has, by the way, it has killed younger people.
You know, wear a coat. Wear a coat. That's all I can tell you.
Well, you know, it did give a certain president pneumonia.
31 days, shortest president ever. William Henry Harrison, shortest ever.
So that, you know, that's the bar that has been set for Kamala. You know, in her mind, she's like, you know, and by the way, I you know, you can't, too bad, I don't think that you could bet on this, but what is the over-under? What would you set the over-under at for Kamala Harris becoming president?
180 days.
I think it'll be a little bit longer than that because that first 180 days is so important.
No, well, 100 days. They put a big deal in the 100 days.
Yeah, I know, but he'll do his. He can't do the rallies, so she'll start doing the rallies at about the 200 days. You know, the way Trump does rallies. I think you know, the Biden just could not keep up with Trump's schedule.
Well.
So I think Kamala will be on the trail, and I think at the 2-year mark, it'll have to be after that election, right? If during the midterm election, she cannot become the president because no one would vote. Everybody would this is wrong.
Right.
So it'll be after the midterm, and it'll still give enough people time to get adapted to her. She runs for re-election, and then we'll go from there. But so I'm going to say it's 2.5 years.
Okay, well, there's an over-under. Let's take a over-under break real quick. We'll come back after this timeout. You're listening to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. Galen Unall from Life South, as always, brought to you by the good folks at Palm Garden Health Rehabilitation Center and Penn Flooring. We'll be right back after this short timeout.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
People ask me why I've worked at Palm Garden for so long, and I tell them it's the people. I love to hear the life stories, especially those from the greatest generation. Celebrating life stories is what sets Palm Garden apart, finding out what's important to them. And I love being a resource. Like Macy's Santa, if I can't help, I'll send them to Gimbel's. After all, Palm Garden is located on 34th Street. I'm Jan from Palm Garden. Call me and let's chat. 854-6262.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Wednesday. We're talking with Galen Unall from Life South, thanks to Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offer skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions how they are handling the COVID-19 pandemic, please call them at 352-854-6262. We'd also like to thank Penn Flooring, a family-owned and operated flooring company serving Marion County for over 30-plus years. They are, they are experienced in both commercial and residential fields. Go see their showroom at 1201 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala, or call them at 352-351-3420. Galen, without those two sponsors, they've been with you a long time. We'd still probably do it, but it wouldn't be near as fun.
No, that's true. I started this segment and it was about 90 seconds, and it just kind of grew. And a large part of that is because of those two people came on board, and Penn Flooring came on first, and then Jan stepped up and took it and wanted to be a part of it. So that's why it's half an hour. I love it. Thank you very much.
And I try my best to hold you over for 45 minutes to an hour anytime I can.
I know. It's okay. At one point it was an hour.
Yeah, it was. At one point it was an hour.
Yeah, it's It for me, that gets a little difficult. So
right.
It just depends on the day.
Every now and then, every now and then we have that special hour.
Yeah, with COVID and everything, I haven't been on the road in a very long time. So it's a little different now. So
we were talking about how long what's the over/under on Joe Biden's presidency. I just know that this isn't the last time we've heard the 25th Amendment. That's all I'm saying.
No, but I'm marking it right around the 700-day mark, 725-day mark, right in there. So you're taking the under.
I'm taking the under all day on that. Oh, yeah. Here's the thing.
All right.
Depending, and if it does go until the midterm elections, if they lose the midterm elections, it could happen within days of the midterm elections. Because they'll blame Joe. They'll blame Joe for it.
Absolutely. Unlike Mike Pence, Kamala Harris will sign that 25th Amendment in about 15 seconds. It's already probably pre-signed.
Thank you. It's in a folder somewhere in her belongings right now.
It's one of those that, look, everybody needs a copy of this. I'm ready.
So it looks like impeachment's going to happen today. First time a sitting president will be impeached twice in their term.
What's interesting is McConnell's like, go ahead, impeach him.
Yeah, whatever.
You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, they can't.
Yeah, sure.
They can't. The Senate rules don't allow them to start a trial this close to an inauguration.
No.
So they can't start the trial till after Joe Biden's inaugurated, and then at that time, there's no reason for a trial because you can only impeach and try a sitting president. The Constitution doesn't give you the right to do that to a private citizen.
What is it, Kabuki theater? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just theater.
Pandering.
And again,
pandering.
It's pandering. It's all of those things. And again, if you are so hurt over the last 4 years by what Trump did, this is what I would ask. All I've asked. I ask this all the time. What did he did that? What? Give me a specific thing that hurt you. Now, don't point to any tweet. Don't talk about people on both sides because you better put that in context. I just want to know what he did specifically to hurt you. What caused you harm?
You mean
whether it's emotional or not? So
you mean the tax cut that he ushered in that even saw one of the most liberal companies in the in our day, Disney, give employees $1,000 rebates because of their tax break they had gotten. So they gave $1,000 bonuses to their employees during that tax break. That was 3 years ago. He stood up to China and brought free trade back to where it should be with China against China. He got out of a bad trade deal with Canada and Mexico, which allowed us to get better pricing there. He got us out of a bad nuclear deal where we were paying Iran to keep building nuclear weapons, just saying they wouldn't use them. He got us to where NATO actually started paying their own bills instead of the U.S. Congress footing the bill for NATO. He hadn't done a damn thing for us, nothing.
Well, and to me, those aren't the most important things that he did. You look at the Middle East now, and one of the things that
he should get a Nobel Peace. He should get a Nobel Peace Prize.
He never will. He never will. But Obama got it just for being elected. Here's the problem. What he's done in the Middle East is changing the world, because he got all of these countries and they recognized Israel's existence. Now, yes, you could say it's an arms deal. Fine. You can call it whatever you want. But up until that point,
nobody wanted to admit that Israel existed.
No, correct. And that is a huge step in accepting that Israel belongs there. And it all is because of what Obama did with Iran and how they propped them up with that $1 billion of cash, right? And that made Iran the center of terrorism. And all those Middle Eastern countries are like, we're beyond this. Let's move on, right? And that forced all those countries to align in defense of Iran. What Jared Kushner did in the Middle East is unprecedented, and he should probably get the Nobel Peace.
Did you hear the latest, though, out of Iran from yesterday? The Iranian parliament passed legislation that says they must destroy Israel by 2040.
I saw that.
They passed legislation to destroy Israel. And people don't think Iran is a hotbed of terrorism. Their government passed legislation to destroy Israel by 2040.
And they also killed 100 protesters dead in the streets, let their bodies lay there. So, but, they're allowed to tweet. They're allowed to use all these platforms.
Oh, yeah, they're on Facebook, Twitter.
All day long. No problem. Go crazy. Go crazy. You, sir, supported Obama, so you're on the right side of all this.
Could you imagine if the U.S. Congress voted in legislation that said we must destroy China by 2040?
Well, no.
We must destroy Iran by 2040.
No. You can, and that's kind of what President Bush said with the axis of evil, right? He basically said, we need to solve this. It got us into a war that we're still fighting. I think it's bad policy.
But there was no legislation passed. They actually passed legislation in Iran that says we must destroy Israel by 2040.
Sure. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
When I saw that, I was like, I thought I was living in Jerry Seinfeld's Bizarro world. I had no idea.
But again, this is where we're at, and it's amazing that even Cuba's like, yeah, bring on Biden. We're excited about having Biden.
Of course they are.
That's not good. China is excited about Biden.
Well, they should be. He's been in cahoots with China for 40 years.
Absolutely. And as an American, you should go, okay. All right. And by the way, I want peace. I think all these wars we've been waging are really terrible. But at the same time, I do not want France to be happy who my president is. I do not care what they think. I just don't. And I'm trying to get people like, oh, we're the laughing stock of the world. I don't care. I've traveled all over the world. I've been jeered at, spit on in foreign countries, walking in my uniform. I really don't care what people think. I just don't. I care about my country, and that's the one thing that President Trump had an opportunity to do that he blew, is to really, and he did it a little bit, but his packaging was all wrong, to really make America first again. He talked about it a lot. He did it a little bit, but not nearly enough. The excellence of America is untouched in human history, and we continue to be. People pointed us, and people from Australia should not care who my president is.
No, they shouldn't.
Guess what? I don't care who their president is.
I have no idea I have no idea who the Prime Minister of Australia is.
And I'm not disrespecting them. I'm not saying they're lesser than. It's just not my business.
Hey, Galen, what is your business? Is telling me where the Bloodmobile is today.
Yeah. Hey, today we're right back at the Walmart down in the Shores. Again, COVID has hit us really hard, just like it hit everybody else. Please, just give the gift of life, donate blood. We'll also be at the Boulevard. We're open all day. We open up at 9 and close at 7.
All right, Galen, thanks. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, be good. Bye, all.
WOCA, The Source.
Florida Justice said on Tuesday more than 170 people have been charged in connection with last week's riot at the U.S. Capitol. Acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Washington, Michael Sherwin, said this is not going to be solved overnight. This is going to be a long-term investigation. Vice President Mike Pence denied a request by a slim margin vote in the House Tuesday, requesting he invoke the 25th Amendment and remove President Trump from office. Speaker Nancy Pelosi is expected to call for a formal impeachment days before Trump's term ends.
The president's actions demonstrate his absolute inability to discharge the most basic and fundamental powers and duties of his office. Therefore, the president must be removed from office immediately. And if you are associating yourself with that as the proper execution of the president's duties, you are associating yourself with sedition and treason.